So in recent days, Estonia, Norway, Denmark, and Georgia have joined the list of countries who had their first case. The Middle East has had several countries report cases as well. So the thing is definitely spreading out there, getting into different countries. Again, the case numbers aren't that high at this time, but seeing new cases in each of these countries definitely has to be concerning to individuals within those countries, right? So I wanted to share this with you real quick here. It says Delta slashes South Korean service because of the outbreak. And this was just today they actually did this. Interestingly enough, it took them this long to do it. So it just shows how companies and governments, even though this isn't government in this case, not trying to take a swipe at them, but how usually they're not able to be out in front of things, how they're not able to plan as quick. And this is different than the video I'm also putting out today about Germany, where they're really trying to get out in front of it. They have 20 cases, but they've lost the ability to track it, to track the chain back to China. So now they're already sounding the pandemic alarm. But here, let's read real quick here. Delta Airlines slashes its service to South Korea from the US to 15 flights a week from 28 as the coronavirus continues to spread rapidly outside China. More than 1,100 people have been infected with the COVID-19 in South Korea, the largest outbreak outside of China. Delta said it's temporarily cutting its service from Minneapolis-St. Paul to Seoul from February 29th to April 30th and cut service to 5 times a week from Atlanta, Detroit, and Seattle until May 1st. The health and safety of customers and employees is Delta's top priority, and the airline has put in place a number of processes and mitigation strategies to respond to the growing concern. My question, I'm always pretty cynical about this stuff. You've got to be cynical. And again, I've talked about it in some of the comments I replied to on some of my videos. It's why would you trust any government, local, federal, business, any type of entity to really have your best interest at heart? Thinking facetiously about it, this is really one of those examples, because if you're telling me that there's a country that's getting 100 new cases a day, like South Korea is and has been, and I actually took a look and they got 500 new cases today. So they had been at 100 and it's been steadily growing. But if your concern is really travelers and the health of your employees, like you say it is, then why are you still operating 15 flights a week to South Korea? Why wouldn't you operate 0? If you see this happening, why are you still letting people travel there? And obviously those individuals have to come back. And this raises kind of a further point. Something I've been thinking about was you have all of these countries doing quarantines, banning flights, this and that. But the reality is, the way I think about it is, if it officially becomes pandemic, like everybody keeps talking about, it's like we're kind of just waiting for it to be declared as such. And if it really happens and if this spreads everywhere, then what good does quarantining really do? The reality is that if this thing is spreading, in spite of the quarantines and everything like that, no matter what you quarantine, how much are you really going to be able to prevent the spread? Now, that being said, you don't do anything. You try to contain it as much as possible, obviously. Do these quarantine effects really have any impact? I mean, what are we going to do? Is there just going to be some point where every country, every city, state, whatever municipality, they just say, hey, everybody, self-quarantine, right? But again, the curiosity to me is always there, because we're hearing a lot about this, and I get it, like I totally get it. It's because it's new, it's something different, it's the mystery thing, like I've been saying for a week now. It's something we don't know about, in terms of like the German video I did, like how are they losing track of the origin, mutation, what have you. It's this new thing. I mean, the flu here is always around all the time, and I'll talk about that in another video I'll put out. But the flu is far more deadly. Why is the flu not getting its just due, right? Why is the flu not being talked about? And they said the flu has killed anywhere from 12,000 to 60,000 people a year, every year since 2010. Hundreds of thousands of people get hospitalized for it every year, and sometimes it's mid hundreds of thousands, 400,000, 500, 600,000. It just depends on the year. But in this case, in this situation with this, far less deadly at this point, obviously, but nobody's talking about the flu itself, something that comes around every year. So like I said, it's just because it's the new thing, and that's how the media is. They're only able to cover the new thing and kind of pump the fear a little bit and this and that, and use it as a way to get attention. Imagine if they were just doing reports on the flu every year and talking about the actual number of deaths. Nobody would be paying attention, right? And that's because this is the new thing, right? It's the thing that's catching everybody's attention attention now. It's got everybody thinking all these crazy scenarios. But that's the video for today. So let me know what you guys think. Are any of you planning to jump on one of those Delta flights to South Korea? I know I'm not. So take care, everybody. Thanks for watching the video as always.